In the year 260, the Roman Emperor Valerian was captured alive, forced to serve as a physical mounting block for the Persian king Shapur I, and, upon his death, flayed, stuffed with straw, and suspended from a temple ceiling as a permanent monument to Roman humiliation. For centuries, Eurocentric histories have painted Rome as the undisputed master of the ancient Mediterranean, a colossus with no equal. This entire narrative is a carefully constructed illusion. The Sassanid Empire of Persia was not some chaotic eastern horde waiting to be conquered, but a highly sophisticated, administratively superior superpower that systematically dismantled Roman legions, broke their supposedly impregnable fortresses, and forced the Caesars to pay vast sums of gold just to keep their empire alive. We are going to peel back the layers of Roman wartime propaganda and look directly at the archaeological and administrative evidence that proves the Sassanids were Rome's only true peer. You will discover how their pioneering bureaucracy, advanced heavy cavalry, and terrifying mastery of chemical siege warfare redefined the geopolitics of the ancient world forever. Let us look at what the traditional textbooks tell us. They present a world where Rome's borders were occasionally harassed by nomadic raiders or disorganized eastern kingdoms, easily swept aside by the highly disciplined Roman legions. This is the version written by Roman historians like Herodian and Cassius Dio, who worked tirelessly to preserve the myth of Roman invincibility. In their narratives, conflicts with the East were minor setbacks, temporary disruptions in Rome's inevitable march toward global dominance. They were wrong. How does a civilization vanish from our collective memory when it once held the fate of Rome in its hands? In the early 3rd century, a dramatic revolution swept across the Iranian plateau. Ardashir I, a brilliant and visionary ruler, overthrew the fragmented Parthian dynasty and established the Sassanid Empire. He did not want a loose confederation of local barons. He wanted a highly centralized, technologically advanced state. Almost immediately, the geopolitical balance of power shattered. The Sassanids claimed descent from the ancient Achaemenid Persian Empire of Cyrus and Darius, viewing the Romans not just as rivals, but as occupiers of their ancestral lands. This was not a mere border dispute. This was an existential struggle for global supremacy. Consider the year 244. The young Roman Emperor Gordian III marched east with a massive army to crush this rising Persian threat. He was not just defeated, he was killed in battle. His successor, Philip the Arab, was so desperate to secure his retreat that he agreed to one of the most humiliating peace treaties in Roman history. The terms of this treaty, preserved on the monumental inscription known as the Res Gestae Divi Saporis, forced Rome to pay Shapur I an immediate ransom of 500,000 gold denarii, followed by massive annual tributes. Think about that for a moment. Rome didn't just pay tributes. They were effectively a tributary vassal state in all but name during the mid-3rd century. Does an undisputed global superpower pay massive annual tributes to a minor border threat? Of course not, but the Roman Senate hid these payments under the guise of gifts or subsidies for border defense. They lied to their own people to keep the myth alive. The truth is far more dramatic. The Sassanids had built a military and administrative machine that was, in many ways, superior to Rome's. While Rome was spiraling into the chaotic crisis of the 3rd century, with emperors being assassinated every few months, the Sassanid state was a model of absolute administrative efficiency. They developed the divan, a highly organized central bureaucracy with dedicated ministries for tax collection, military logistics, and foreign intelligence. This was not a feudal system. It was a merit-based administrative structure that could mobilize resources across thousands of miles with astonishing speed. Nowhere is this superiority more shocking than in the realm of siege engineering. We are taught that Rome was the absolute master of engineering, famous for their roads, aqueducts, and siege engines. The Sassanids looked at Roman fortifications and simply built better machines to destroy them. Let us look at the archaeological evidence from the desert fortress of Dura Europos, located on the cliffs of the Euphrates River. In the mid-3rd century, the Sassanid army surrounded this heavily fortified Roman garrison. Roman engineers had reinforced the city walls with massive earthen ramparts, believing they were entirely impregnable. The Sassanids did not just attack the walls, they literally bypassed them by digging massive tunnels deep underground. But the Romans detected the digging and excavated their own counter-tunnels to intercept the Persian miners. What happened next in those dark, claustrophobic subterranean passages is one of the most terrifying discoveries in modern archaeology. Historian Simon James, analyzing the skeletal remains of 19 Roman soldiers found trapped in a single tunnel, discovered something extraordinary. The Sassanid miners had not fought them with swords. Instead, they had placed braziers filled with burning sulfur and bitumen at the mouth of the tunnel, using bellows to pump toxic sulfur dioxide gas directly into the Roman chambers. The Roman soldiers were dead within seconds, choked by a cloud of chemical weapons. This is the earliest recorded use of chemical warfare in human history. The Sassanids then constructed a massive assault ramp, utilizing sophisticated mathematics and earth-moving techniques that rivaled anything Rome's legions could produce. They breached the city, and Dura Europos was utterly destroyed, never to be rebuilt. This was not an isolated incident. Throughout the 3rd and 4th centuries, Sassanid armies repeatedly captured major Roman cities like Antioch, Nisibis, and Amida, using advanced siege towers, battering rams, and mines that left Roman commentators utterly terrified. This was not a clash between civilization and barbarism. It was a clash between two equal, highly advanced superpowers. And the Romans knew it, even if they refused to admit it in their public propaganda. In the private chambers of diplomacy, the mask of Roman superiority slipped entirely. Historian Ammianus Marcellinus records the extraordinary correspondence between the Sassanid king Shapur II and the Roman emperor Constantius II. Shapur addresses the Roman emperor not as a subordinate, but as his equal, using the term "my brother." He writes of the Roman and Persian empires as the two eyes of the world, two great lights destined to share the governance of the earth. This was a formal recognition of a geopolitical duopoly. The Sassanids were the only state with whom Rome signed formal, legally binding peace treaties based on mutual respect and equal status. When a Roman emperor died, the Sassanid court would sometimes go into official mourning. When a Sassanid Shahanshah ascended the throne, Rome would send high-ranking diplomats with lavish gifts, not to demand submission, but to secure alliances. The physical evidence of this shared grandeur is still visible today. Look at the ruins of Ctesiphon, the Sassanid capital located near modern-day Baghdad. There stands the Tak Kasra, a monumental arch spanning over 85 feet in width and towering over 110 feet high. It remains the largest single-span brick vault in the world. It was an architectural marvel designed specifically to dwarf the buildings of Rome, constructed without any centering or temporary support during its build. It was a statement in stone: we are the center of the world. To build such structures, the Sassanids utilized captured Roman expertise in a way that asserted absolute dominance. After the capture of Valerian, Shapur I took thousands of Roman engineers, architects, and soldiers and put them to work. But they did not build Roman monuments. They were forced to build the Bande Caesar, or Caesar's Dam, at Shushtar. This massive 500-meter-long weir and bridge system was a masterpiece of hydraulic engineering, diverting the Karun River to irrigate vast tracts of Persian farmland. The very infrastructure that powered the Sassanid agricultural boom was built by the enslaved legions of a defeated Roman emperor. Furthermore, the Sassanid military was built around a highly prestigious, heavily armored cavalry force known as the Savaran. These noble cataphracts were encased from head to toe in iron and steel mail, riding armored horses into battle like unstoppable human tanks. It was this Sassanid heavy cavalry that inspired the Roman military to completely restructure its own army, creating their own units of clibanarii and cataphractarii. The very concept of medieval knighthood, of armored warriors bound by a code of elite nobility, did not originate in Western Europe. It was born in the sands of Persia, perfected by the Sassanids, and copied by a desperate Roman Empire trying to survive. When we look at the ancient world through this lens, the entire narrative of Western history undergoes a profound transformation. The story of Rome is no longer a solitary saga of a lone superpower civilizing a dark and chaotic world. Instead, we see a dynamic, highly volatile partnership between two rival giants who defined each other through centuries of intense competition. You can no longer look at the map of antiquity and see only Rome. You must see the great Eastern counterweight that held Rome in check, that shaped its military tactics, its architecture, and its administrative structures. The Sassanid Empire did not just humble Rome, they co-authored the history of the late ancient world. Without Shapur and his successors, the Roman Empire we know would never have existed. The very challenges the Sassanids presented forced Rome to adapt, to militarize, and to ultimately transform into the Byzantine Empire. History is not a static set of textbook chapters. It is a vast, deeply interconnected web of rivals, innovators, and hidden empires waiting to be rediscovered in the silent archives. There are still untold stories, buried under centuries of dust, of other forgotten superpowers who pulled the strings of global history from the shadows. Next time, we will journey to a completely different corner of the ancient world, to unearth a conspiracy of power that manipulated the greatest trade routes in human history, hiding its true face behind a mask of myth. The archives are open, and the truth is waiting.